So a lot of us growing up didn't have, say, great role models. We'll say, didn't have examples of how to be in the world. Didn't have examples of how we should act. A lot of us had examples of how not to act. Now, this creates certain emotional development issues as we get older. And so when it comes to coaching, a lot of times what we have to do is we have to go back to these points, to these situations, and find ways to create that role model, that ally, that avatar, that thing that was needed at a particular time in life. And we have various techniques and tools to give that to our past self. And this is in a psychic level when we're trying to work on past issues. But also in the way we live our life currently today, we take on personas of individuals we look up to, either physically, like real. If there's an individual in your life, somebody that you want to emulate, you act like them. You model yourself after them. So you even would think of things they would say or ways they would handle a situation, and you practice replicating that. In recovery, we call this acting as if. So if you're somebody that is wanting to cultivate some compassion or want to be trustworthy, any million of things, you would act as if you are compassionate, act as if you are understanding or trustworthy. And as you practice this and emulate this, your actions turn into your habits, which turn into your thinking, which turns into your personality, and suddenly you are that person. You have become that person. You are emulating the person you are aspiring to be. Which, yet again, this can be a physical, real person, or this can be a psychic person. This can be, your best self. So if you're somebody that lacks confidence, we would have an avatar, an ally that is confident in themselves, that isn't self-conscious, that doesn't require drugs and alcohol to let their guard down, to be themselves. And we practice in small situations how to step into that role, and gradually those situations become a little bit stronger, a little bit, a little bit bigger steps, until eventually we are this person throughout our day, every day, all the time. So when we don't get what we need as kids in one way or another, which that's the thing, even when we say not get what we need, this can be like things we actually did not get. This can also just be things that I myself created around myself that I didn't get, So even the way in which I handled situations as a kid, not to say that it was in any way something that a provider or a friends or schooling or whatnot didn't provide, but the way I responded to particular situations and events created issues where I didn't get something I needed. So yet again, as an adult, as a person looking to consciously heal these aspects of myself, my psyche, that are causing problems nowadays, we look back at these moments and find out where was something that I needed that I didn't get. So for my experience, a lot of the reasons why I started diving into drugs and alcohol in my teenage years was to fit in with my peers. I was super self-conscious. Most of us are around puberty. So I was a lot more confident when I would show up to a party and have a fat sack of weed that I could just sit down and start rolling a blunt. I was, all of a sudden I wasn't, questioning, what do I do with my hands? What do I say? What do I do? I was able to just be chill and be enjoyable. And I embodied this identity, and it allowed me to be that for myself. The problem is that with drugs and alcohol, they're like a chemical avatar, I guess, a chemical ally, we'll say. They serve a purpose, but it's not a sustainable purpose. Obviously the drugs and alcohol allow us to be a version of ourselves that we enjoy and want to be But the problem is tolerance, consequences, all the negative stuff, the disconnection from yourself. It's a false ally. So instead, I could look back on those times, those situations, maybe in particular situations during a session. I would figure out, recall various situations, and practice showing up for myself in the way that I needed at that time. And this is how we can heal and release a lot of the things that we continue to hold on to, the quote-unquote baggage that we carry with us into our adult life, into our relationships. So this is the type of stuff that we do in coaching, and I just felt like I wanted to share that. A lot of times most of us go through most of our life, especially nowadays, we go through, everybody's got this whole, my dad wasn't there for me, my whoever wasn't there for me, blah, blah, blah. Understandable. I'm coming from a place of compassion. Not to say that doesn't suck. It does. I get it. But once we're aware of it, then it's up to us to find ways to create that for ourselves. Like if someone didn't have the things they needed, food, shelter, whatever, the basic survival things that we needed as a child, then as an adult, you don't just continue to say, well, my providers never gave me those things, so I'm not going to as an adult either. No, as an adult, now you're able to do the things that you weren't able to for yourself as a child. So you could work more, get a better job, do the things that you weren't able to be provided for you as a kid. Which when it comes to money, everybody understands that, but when it comes to emotional stuff, mental stuff, all of a sudden people are like, oh, that seems weird, or I don't get it. But it's, as a functioning adult, there's ways in which you can provide for our younger selves, provide the things that they didn't get, to help us be a better version of ourselves, to help us release the past, to be fully present, to be fully integrated with ourselves. So, yeah. So if that sounds interesting, but not sure how to go about it, reach out to me, reach out to any other, there's a lot of good coaches around, and, bring your healing to the next level. So, have a good day.